This is Heart Rhythm TV, and I am Julie Shea here with another episode of Advancing Allies. Today's program is on LEAP, which stands for Leadership and Education for Allied Professionals. I have with me today Patricia Blake, CEO of the Heart Rhythm Society, Jill Schaeffer, who's an EP nurse practitioner from Penn Medicine, and Data Goldense, who is a physician assistant from the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. I'd like to start our interview today with Patricia Blake, whose the LEAP program was actually her innovative idea. So Patricia, welcome to the program. Could you tell us a little bit about the LEAP program? How did you come up with this idea?
Well, thank you, Julie. It's really nice to be here today, especially nice to be able to talk about this program, which is as you already mentioned, near and dear to my heart. In fact, I'd had some experience in a previous position with a leadership program, which was very successful. And when I interviewed for this position with the interview committee at the Heart Rhythm Society, one of the things we talked about is the importance of our allied members and the difficult jobs you all do and how critical you are to our membership. And in that conversation, I suggested that we consider developing a leadership program for allies. So fortunately, I was selected to be the CEO for Heart Rhythm Society. And one of my very first initiatives was, in fact, to go back to the board and say that I'd like to start this program. So the reason for that is because what we know about in medicine is that you learn many, many, many things. Much of what you don't learn is how to be a leader, how to deal with employees, how to handle budgets, how to deal with difficult situations, how to negotiate for things you need and things your program needs. And so this is really what you didn't learn in your education coming up through the ranks to become an allied professional.
Great. So what are your goals for the program?
Well, probably the most important goal for the program is that everyone who is involved in it comes away stronger, better, more of a leader, both within HRS and really importantly within their own institution. And sometimes we find even in their social circle, their family or their social activities. So this program is a one-year program and it's only 20 people a year. One of the reasons for that is, and that's very, very intentional, part of the value of this program we have discovered over the years is networking. One of the things that many of us don't do as well as we could is develop that network, which helps us get through those difficult situations, which gets us on the phone or over the internet with someone saying, I've got this situation. Has anyone else dealt with this? Or I don't know what to do. These networks, this network of 20 people, hopefully will become your safety net, your social circle, your advisors, your confidants. And so part of the program is designed around networking. Not just learning new things, new skills, but networking. That's a critical piece of this and what makes it a little different than many other programs around leadership.
Great. So we have 1 year under our belt for the LEAP program. I know it was kind of conceived of in 2020. The pandemic kind of influenced when that actually launched, but you were able to kind of get through the 2021 year with your first group of 20 participants in the program. And what was your impression of that?
There's something magical about this program. And I think, again, it goes back to helping people develop themselves. This is very personal. I mean, there's a personality assessment that talks about your strengths and your barriers in leadership. It's deeply personal. And then the networking piece of it that I just mentioned, there is something that happens when this group of people, because there's webinars and there's online activities, but we were able, thank goodness, this year to actually physically get together for a day and a half. And during that day and a half, there is a camaraderie that develops and I say magical, it sounds a little odd or a little silly maybe, but that's really how it feels, that people walk out of that different than they walked into that. And that really is all around building their own skills and their own confidence, but also understanding that you're part of a community and that community is there to help you. And that community is dealing with the same thing you're dealing with. That's why it's so important that this is for allied professionals, because you all need to have that commonality especially now more than ever. This program is so critical. You are dealing with situations that none of us anticipated with sort of no end in sight. And this is a program about being optimistic. It's about growing. It's about how we can develop each other and support each other, even in these very, very difficult times.
When I was at HRS this year, I heard a lot of people talking about the LEAP program and the excitement around it, that the group themselves were so excited to get together and see each other and interact with each other. And talking with people afterward, they got a tremendous amount out of the program. So thank you, Pat, this was your brainchild. You came up with it. And I think it was something that was missing from the allied professional experience at Heart Rhythm Society. So thank you. Thank you for your innovation. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you. It's delightful. And we're very excited about the next year and the next year and the next year. So thank you, Julie, for your leadership too.
So happy to. And I hear that there's going to be an alumni meeting every year. So the group, the networking, it's not like a one-off deal with this program, that it's going to continue to build and develop and evolve and create the future of the leaders for Heart Rhythm Society and also within institutions across the world. So thank you for bringing the program to fruition. I'd like you to stay tuned for our next segment within this program. I have Joe Rapoli, who chaired the LEAP program last year, and I have Dana Goldense, who is actually an alumni. They're both going to talk a little bit about their experience last year in the LEAP program. So stay tuned for more. We are now joined by Jill Schaeffer and Dana Goldense. Jill was the chair of the 2021 LEAP program, and Dana is actually an alumni of the program. So welcome, ladies. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So Jill, I'd like to start with you. Can you tell me a little bit about your first year chairing the LEAP program? What was it like for you?
Well, we had our challenges because this was really supposed to be 2020, but then COVID hit. So our class actually got 2 years out of it because of the uncertainties of what was happening in COVID. And so what we envisioned was a year program with various meeting times, and that gradually turned into a lot of virtual visits for the first part of the year because we had to. But then as things lightened up, we were able to meet. And for me, it was a lot of good education to learn leadership strategies. But the thing that was the most fulfilling was getting a group together who had similar interests and needs in growing in a leadership role in their practice, and all the networking that happened. I mean, it was a wonderful thing to watch people want to learn, and the discussion. Even when we were doing this remotely and, Zoom calls, I think we've all been on Zoom calls where there's radio silence on the other end and you wonder if anyone's even really listening. And it was just not that way with this group. They were so excited to share and learn. And so despite the challenges, it was a great experience to be the first leader as we were kind of figuring out what we had to offer.
Great. Well, we heard a little bit about the LEAP program from Pat already. Can you talk a little bit about what you think, what does the program offer?
Well, the program offers some combination of video and in-person visits, but the in-person big session was a weekend retreat at a place we went to DC, where there was various speakers that came in. They provided something beyond the usual EP education. We talked about personalities and personality testing. We talked about leadership, negotiation techniques. So a lot of EP professionals are kind of thrown into a leadership role without very much formal education. So to have business leaders give us guidance on that was a fabulous way to address those leadership concerns, and was well received. Other times on our virtual visits, we did management styles, we did administrator / clinician dyads and what's important for that, team-based leading, team-based growth of management style. So those were the kind of concepts that, and every once in a while people had clinical concerns and we talked about those too. So it was just really a good meeting of the minds, and we had all levels of, some were early career, there were all levels of roles, some were nurses, some were researchers, some were advanced practice providers.
Great. So Dana, over to you. Can you tell us a little bit about why you applied to the LEAP program?
Absolutely. So I'd been in practice about 3 years when that first call for applications came out. And so I was really pretty comfortable with the medicine, but knew that I wanted to grow my own practice at my institution and within HRS, and didn't really feel like I had the organization, the leadership, a lot of what Jill said, kind of those soft skills that you need when you're trying to, rise and build programs, that I just didn't get during my PA training. And so when the call came out for applications, I remember sending it to my supervising physician at the time and saying, "This looks amazing. Will you help me?" And he said, "Absolutely." And then, it became this really wonderful way to grow within my institution, as well as get more involved with the various committees and other things that I'm doing within HRS. So it was a wonderful, wonderful stepping stone, I think.
Great. And what do you think in your practice, what were you hoping to improve on the most? Is there anything specific?
Yeah, I was starting to, at that time when I applied, and again, this was 2 years ago, so this was, February 2020, I was starting to take more of a leadership role with sort of like practice guidelines and protocols at my institution. And I liked that challenge, but I felt like I needed more help with sort of the interfacing, like working with other providers and other service teams within the hospital, and being able to be at the meeting and sort of be a productive participant, and really kind of like effectively communicate what my team needed, what our surgical partners, our anesthesia partners, the floor partners, the emergency room, like being able to really kind of resolve the conflicts that are inherently a part of building programs and changing practices. And so I was really looking for those sort of skills to be sitting at the table and be, an effective team member at the time. And I think I really got a lot of that out of the sessions, especially like Jill mentioned, the negotiating, and we had a seminar on conflict resolution that was really very well received. And it all comes down to communication. And so I think that was the greatest piece of it, to really kind of like learn those skills and hone those skills.
Absolutely. I think, that's not something that we're taught,
No.
The communication skills and how to finesse through difficult situations. So I think this is really providing or fulfilling an important niche in that area for sure. So what was it like being part of the inaugural class? As Jill kind of alluded to, being in the midst of a pandemic and trying to navigate through that.
Yeah, it was great. I like program building. And so to have Jill and Amber, our two co-chairs, who, really adapted to more of a Zoom-based format for the first year that we were all together. It was really exciting because they had great ideas, but we also were very actively participating in content development. So I think we at the end of one of our Zooms kind of mentioned that we were interested in learning more about research. A lot of our team members, either were involved in research or wanted to really kind of finesse their approach. And so they arranged for, a couple of leaders in the field to speak to us about how to get your foot in the door at every step of the way, like ways that we could grow. And so it was exciting to have, wonderful speakers arranged and, great ideas, but also being able to, kind of guide it where we wanted it to go and what we felt the needs were, in addition to what had already been identified as content areas, which was really exciting. And then certainly with the pandemic, we didn't get to meet in person until HRS of this year, but we'd already been meeting on Zoom for a year at that point, once every few months. And so it was really fun getting in the room because we already had really strong relationships with each other, but we never actually met in person. And so at HRS, getting to meet everyone in person was like it felt like a homecoming or something, because we all felt like we knew each other so well. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I heard that was a great meeting, great opportunity for networking and building colleague for sure.
Absolutely.
So Jill, how do people get involved in the program?
There's an application process online. So if you go to the HRS website and you Google LEAP or search LEAP, it should come up. I also posted something in the allied professional communications communities. So you click that link and there's an application process online. And you do need to commit to the program. So there are some dates that are kind of the expected dates that we're going to have programs, because it's competitive. There's only 20 folks in each class. And the idea is that once you graduate from this class, there will always be a reunion like at HRS of all the classes. So this will grow year to year to year. And I think we'll really build leaders among the allied professionals in the HRS in this way. But because it's a small program, we want to offer quality programs. There's a real intent to not make it too big. And therefore, because of the competitiveness, we really want folks who want to do this and can commit and from their institution that they're able to go to the dates that are listed. So that's part of the process too. It's an application process. And it's okay if, you know, life happens. If people say, you know what, I can't commit this year because of this and that. This is intended to be a yearly class. And so it's definitely a priority for the HRS leadership to continue to offer these types of trainings to our allied professionals. So that's a good news.
Right. And I also read that you can self-nominate. So you can either have somebody nominate you for the program, or you can self-nominate. So if you are interested in applying, you can go ahead and nominate yourself.
And I added that, you know, sometimes people ask, is this just early career versus late career? We didn't make it a hard and fast rule. Now, if you're a vice president of your organization, this class is probably not for you. It is meant to be folks who are wanting to gain new skill sets. But, you know, we're not saying, okay, it has to be that you worked in EP 5 years or under. We're not putting a time frame on that, because we know that people change roles. And you know, you might have been a nurse in an organization for 10 years, but this is your first time of being asked to lead programs, and you feel like this is something new for you. So that's why we did not create a time frame of when you were working as part of the criteria.
Yeah, and I think it's great having, you know, early career people and mid-career people, because they all bring something a little different to the table. So I think
we found that to be true.
Great. Yeah, exactly. So Dana, what would you recommend to others who are considering applying for the LEAP program?
Well, I mean, to start out, obviously recommend doing it to anyone who's thinking about it. You know, echoing Jill, it is a little bit of a commitment. So, you know, you have to kind of be ready to, you know, be able to do the webinars and then the meetings and stuff. But, you know, I found tremendous benefit from it professionally as well as personally. And I think, you know, having the support of your institution, of your physicians, your managers, you know, that is really essential. I was very fortunate that my supervising physician, as well as everyone at part of our EP division, was, you know, thought this was such a great opportunity, and, you know, really made flexibility in my schedule to be able to attend meetings and get out on time to attend webinars. And so that was huge. It's a great opportunity for networking and for growth, so long as you have the time to invest in it. So if you know, like Jill said, if you have a lot going on, you know, I think it would be hard to really enjoy and make the most of it if you have other, you know, personal or professional things going. But it was, I think everyone really felt like it was a great program, and we learned a tremendous amount from it. So I'm thrilled that I did it.
Great. Well, thank you both for your time today, describing your experiences with the LEAP program. The applications are currently open right now. You can access them, as Jill said. There is a link on the Allied Professional Community page. You can also access it through the Heart Rhythm website. We do encourage you to consider applying to the LEAP program. I know that you're going to get a lot of great benefit if you get chosen to participate. And again, if you don't get chosen this year, you roll over, you can reapply for next year. But we do encourage people's participation in it. So thank you all for your time. I'd like to thank Pat Blake for her time this morning as well. This is Julie Shea, and this is Heart Rhythm TV.